Hey guys, I'm Tim.
I'm Bob.
I'm Spencer.
I'm Dan.
This is Board Game Rundown. Today we are going to review Reload Fight for Fame. It's by Kolossal Games, 2 to 4 players. What, hour and a half?
I don't know what it actually
It
says.
says half an hour to an hour. Maybe 2 players is half an hour.
Yeah, I can see
maybe.
that. And I also do think it will be under an hour once people know what they're doing.
Sure.
Yeah.
Dan, this is your Kickstarter version. What's going on with this game?
So I guess I'll start by bouncing off that sentence and saying that I think the term Kickstarter version's pretty strong. It just feels,
Okay, sure.
It just feels like
Your
a retail
Kickstarter just
version
filled.
of the
Okay,
game,
yeah,
right? But yes, so Reload, I would describe it because 99% of people out there, probably not of our viewer base, but 99% of people out there are obsessed with Fortnite, and I would describe this as Fortnite, the board game, right? It's a battle royale, PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, classic kind of game. We start the game. We each have an asymmetric character here, so this is your power. You'll also have a card you can have that actually literally says what your power is. That's very helpful. Yeah, there's that one. Thanks. And then it reminds you right here, and you will have your character, and the first player parachutes down into the board. They'll pick either a center space or one of the most inward circle spaces, and they will roll 2 dice. If they roll either the same face or opposites, then they can choose. So 2 and 3 are not opposites. So I drift towards either 2 or 3. I don't remember where I said I was going to land. Let's say I was going to land here. So I drift towards either 2, which would put me here, or 3, which would put me here. You always drift towards the outmost circle, right? So I wouldn't drift here. I would drift here. Then once you're on the board, you have 5 dice. These are your actions. You do not roll the dice. That's something that takes people a while to catch on to at first if you're not like used to this mechanic, because games do this, but it is more rare than rolling dice, right? But basically, you'll just assign it. If you want to move on your turn, that's a 4. So you go left to right. I put a 4 there, and I can move. Then if I want to pick up something, I can put a 2 there, and I can pick this up. Then let's say I want to activate that space. I put the 3 here. I activate that space. That's draw 3 cards and keep 1 from the deck, right?
Keep 2.
Sorry, you're right.
We kept doing that wrong.
We kept doing that wrong. Draw 3 cards and keep 1. You can also build, which when you build on your turn, there's a little reminder here. It's missing 1 icon, which is strange, but so you can either place a trap down. Each player has 6 traps. It is literally 2 rocks, 2 papers, 2 scissors. When you place a trap down, if someone else moves onto that spot, they play rock, paper, scissors against the trap. You flip the trap over, and if the person walking into the trap wins, they get a little trap chevron, which we will go over later. If it's a tie, the placer of the trap gets the chevron, and the player who walked into it gets no more movement for the rest of the turn. They can still do anything else. And if they win, they get the trap chevron, and the trap is removed, and they just continue on their turn. You can build 1 or 2 walls, so walls just go in between tiles like this, and walls, if you own the wall, you can walk through it, and you can shoot through it. No one else can. You can also, as an action, I'll explain this one next, demolish. So that is just break either a wall, a trap, or
not a trap, a base.
Oh, sorry, a base.
Yeah.
Well, I'm pretty sure you can demolish a
you can
trap,
step
but
on a
right,
trap, it
but
goes
like
off.
it's probably card dependent, I guess is what I'm saying. But
could
I think it mentions demolishing traps somewhere. And then you can build your base. Every player has a base. When you build it, you are safe from the toxins there, which we'll get into later. And your lowest rolled or lowest placed die slides down to your defense pool, which again we'll have to explain later. Then there is the heal action. Usually you place your dice here. Instead, for the heal, you roll it because you don't know what you're going to place there, and it would go there. And then this is the melee one. If you take the melee action, it's the last action you take. It has to end your turn. When your turn is done, all dice that are up here in your, well, this isn't the combat line yet, but all actions you took that aren't skulls slide over here in numerical order top to bottom. So 4, 3, 2 is how that would work out perfectly. And then skulls, well, this one would get rerolled. That's a special melee one, but let's say it was up here, right? So this would slide down and become that. And then this skull would slide down to the skull area down here. This is now you're called your combat line, and it will be your defense if someone else attacks you. Because if someone attacks you, they'll roll white dice, thank you, and they will line this up again, highest to lowest. And if they have higher than you in anything, they do damage to you. If you have higher than them, you defend. So in this case, I would do no damage to the person I was attacking. Skulls proc before this number. If they have any skulls and you have any skulls, they go against each other. The attacker does a damage for every skull, and the defender just blocks a skull for every skull. It just goes around the table like that. The goal of the game is everyone has this kind of experience bar in front of them, like a classic video game. And as you're doing a achievements and stuff, you are filling this up. So everyone starts with their color and their player in here. You'll see these are pieces that slide around. Then the things you can do in the game is you can pick up and drop off a supply drop. That would go in here once you've dropped it off. If you do damage to someone in a combat action on your turn, you put this in here, unless you kill them with that action, in which case you take a reload instead. That's the biggest chevron in base game. You can also, if you get someone with your trap, or if someone disarms your trap, there's a blue one. This one is only for the team versus team mode. This is if you or your team heal each other. You get the green one. There is a special purple crown that comes out due to some events, which is like a, king of the hill kind of thing. So whoever's turn it is gets this, and then if you kill that person, you get it. So once this comes out, it's just going to keep jumping around people's bars. And then there is also the achievement one, which if you can accomplish an achievement, you get an orange one. Once someone reaches the line here at the end, the game instantly ends and they win. They are called the, superstar, I think is what it's called. Otherwise, the game ends when the event deck runs out, and I believe there's a second way, but we have never had it happen to us. I'd have to look in the rulebook. The main thing is the event deck. Every time that I have played, someone has reached the end goal. So yes, this is your equipment. You can have one helmet, you can have one chest, and you have two hands. So you could have two-hand weapons like this, or if you had a weapon that had two hands. Oh, you have one in your inventory? Thank you.
I don't know. Spencer pointed.
Then it would go in the middle like this and take up both spaces. I love that. It's just simple iconography. If you swap out weapons, these would then go to your backpack like that. Yeah, that is the base game. Everything in here has icons, though. There's so much here. I mean, this means that ranged weapons can't hit you unless they're in the same space as you, right? That little hidden mask. When you're in the mountains, it takes more movement to enter them, but you also have more range to your weapons. This one lets you call in supply drops basically anywhere you want on the map. There's a lot going on here that you'll have to refer to the rule book. Just read it up. I've now played a couple times, and every time I just have the guide in front of me. And even cards that I think I know what they do, I just read word for word what it says because I want everyone to understand what exactly is happening. There are QuickTime achievements and there are endgame achievements. So this is the next person to do this, which is kill someone. That's get a reload with melee combat, would get the little orange thing that would be there onto their thing, and that would go away. These would score at the end. This is obvious, right? The person with the most level 3 equipment, the person with the most kills. It's all pretty good iconography here. As the game goes on, event cards will come out that cause contamination. And contamination is you would put this on the number that matches. So this is a 4. So this would go here. If a 4 came out again, so there's a 2. If a 4 came out again, it would go. The contamination would go on everyone touching it instead, and it would just keep growing out from all the different sectors like that. And then obviously there's supply drops and stuff like that in here, right? Classic Hunger Games Fortnite kind of thing. If you end your turn in a spot with toxin, you take a damage, like a straight up damage. As you get damage, God, there is so much to talk about here. As you get damage, so let's say that these were like this, right? Where's the 3? So the 4 beats the 3. This would cause me a damage. The 3 does not beat it, and the 2 beats it, right? Because there's nothing there. Let's say these were down here, right, for some reason. So the 4 beats the 3. The 3 would slide over and become a damage. You don't have to flip it, but it's easy, right? Then the 3 does nothing. Then the 2 causes an instant damage because there's no defense there, so you would take a second damage. And then your whole combat line would slide up, right? Because then if the next person attacks you, thematically, you have been weakened. It is easier now to hurt you as the game goes on. Honestly, while there's a lot to talk about here, the biggest thing I'll throw at this game is that a lot of the things thematically fill in. I really like that the idea that you're getting weaker over time as people hurt you, right? And there's just a lot here that I'm sure Spenser has a lot to say on too, that just thematically is like, oh, okay, that makes sense. The only other 2 things I see out here are these are special things linked to certain cards. So this is a stun icon that will slow your movement and do stuff, and this is a lock icon that will slow your movement and do stuff. Yeah, that is enough of the basic rundown of the game. There is so much more I could explain. I mean, just the combat line and how all that works itself is a whole 10-minute video of just talking about that, because not only is it the best part of the game, but there's a lot going on there situation-wise. So I think we're just going to call it here and talk about our thoughts, and then you'll get more info as that goes on.
Oh, real quick, one more thing that you didn't mention. When you die, you go over here, and then on your next round, you just parachute right back in. You get new equipment. So the real problem with dying is you lose all your stuff. But you get new stuff, And I remember once I was playing, I was decked out, and someone just dropped in and killed me. And like, it's quite possible
I
to
dropped
still
in,
be.
spawned with a shotgun, blew his face
Yeah,
off.
it's quite possible to still be deadly just dropping.
Yep. Yeah, it's definitely a game where you're going to die a lot. It's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Just
don't
respawn.
get super attached to the cards you're getting. Just try to get as many kills with that stuff as you can, knowing that you're going to lose it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. All right. Well, let's talk about a little bit about just like some of the components and things like that. I think the artwork's really solid.
Yep.
I would say that the minis are pretty subpar.
I am not happy at all with the miniatures, but it also just doesn't matter. Like,
No,
if
they could
I
be
had,
standees
If
and
I
be
had
fine.
like Onk level miniatures, it'd be like amazing place.
Yeah. no, I mean they
doesn't
could be
matter.
standees and be and be
Right,
fine, right?
yeah.
Actually, what I think would be cool would be acrylic representations of these guys. Like,
That
Right,
would
like
be
the
pretty
the
cool.
flat
Yeah.
see-through acrylic
yeah,
kind
yeah,
of thing.
yeah.
especially her.
Like some other games have been starting to do. Well, you could do interesting things with
Yeah,
it.
that's
But
true.
these are kind of flimsy.
Yeah.
And
I've opened the box 3 or 4 times now. I've had to reshape the miniatures every time. They get bent up in that box.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like I mean they are super soft plastic of just like leaning
yeah,
over and
oh,
stuff
be
like
careful, you
that.
make me nervous.
Yeah.
Other than that, though, right? I
see
mean,
you're
the,
going,
the dice fit the squares on the board, which is nice. The
Dual
iconography
layer.
is solid.
Yeah.
Yeah. The experience point bar is very cool.
It needed to be.
This stuff, I mean, it's solid, feels good, and everything.
Yeah, honestly, I'm really happy with all the components here. I mean, the cards aren't amazing, but they do their job. The
But
box
the art on the
feels
cards
nice.
is good.
Yeah, no, I
the
like it.
colors. The
Insert's
colors
pretty good.
pop.
The insert is really nice. That it's not like it's an amazing insert because they kind of they do a middle ground thing where they could have just given you a big hole, and just put everything here. Some games do that,
Fantasy
and that would
Flight.
suck. This game gives you a bunch of holes, which is nice, but also it's not like there's enough holes for everything to be individually put
thing.
away. So some things have to be mixed together anyway, and then like. I don't know. It's nice for when you're playing because you have the stuff that kind of matters together, and then as people get stuff, you just pull it out of the hole, right? I have the 2 small ones together here. I have 2 together here, and I know as the owner of the game and as the one teaching the game where everything is, so I know I can just reach in and grab it. So it could have been better, but what they did is appreciated. The tiles are held perfectly. The cards are held perfectly, even with the expansion cards and stuff. It holds them perfectly in there. So yeah. While it holds everything nice, you will have to take time discovering how you want it held in there with all the different holes. But yeah, like all the tiles and stuff I like a lot. I really like these. So again, the idea of this video game experience bar had me interested, and then I played it on Tabletop Simulator with one of the, I don't think it was a designer. I think it was one of the publishers.
Sure.
But I played it on Tabletop Simulator with them, and so this was really cool, and that got me in. And then when I played the dice system, I was just like, I'm back in the game. I loved the dice system. I loved the chaotic fun. I mean, when we played it the other night, with the 4 of us, it was just nonstop laughing and stuff. And was that because it was midnight? Maybe. But I mean, we had a fantastic time just laughing, trying to learn this game and seeing stuff happen. So yeah, component-wise, I'm pretty happy except for the miniatures, and I just don't think it matters. But you probably will care, right? If you're looking at that.
Yeah, I mean, I just figured it was worth mentioning,
sure.
right? And there's a lot of components.
I guess this.
How many
isn't-
years did this take you to punch out?
It actually wasn't that bad. I sat on my bed in maybe 10 minutes. I just punched out. Again, the deciding where to put stuff in the box was actually like I was just like, okay, these would make sense together, that
Yeah,
kind of thing.
yeah.
The one thing I will say, which it's not even technically for the base game, all the stretch goals came in a separate box. So if you're getting the stretch goals, you'll get that. It is the worst box I've ever had. Like, I have to assume, again, it doesn't matter because everything just goes into the base game.
Sure.
Right? But I have to assume it's like what you guys have been explaining with Fireball Island because I never had that experience. But, like,
Oh.
by trying to tear the saran wrap off the box, it bent the box. Like, and I was just like, what? And then I opened the box and I saw what was in it, and it all went in here, and I was like, okay, thank goodness. Like, so at least it makes sense. They were like, to make the box as cheap as possible, it doesn't matter,
Sure.
right?
We're gonna throw
But
'em
I
away.
was like, that was my first time having a box like that, and I was like, this is terrible. I couldn't believe that
Perforated,
by
just-
trying to rip up saran wrap, the box went.
Right.
That's funny.
Okay.
All right. So I guess we'll go around and just we're gonna give this a review. Or
Yeah.
Give it a
Rating?
rating.
I had a really good time.
Okay.
So we're going to each give our final thoughts, and we're going to rate this game from 1 to 10. We do use 0.5s. And then we will average them all together at the end, so there's only one score we talk about on BGG and stuff like that. It's just easier that way, but we all want to state our opinions separately as well because we hate each other.
Right.
Yeah, true.
Checks out.
Spencer, why don't
I
you
knew
go
it'd be me.
first?
I knew
Welcome
it'd be me.
back.
That's why I've
Yeah.
been thinking about it. Yes, it's good to be back. Yeah, so I've played this actually with her last night, 2 nights ago. I had a blast. I didn't win, but one thing I've noticed every time we've played is it's always close. It's never you have one person who's way ahead and everyone else has no points. There's at least 2 people who are really close. When we did it that night, everyone was really close.
Yeah, it was almost a situation where everyone was going to win on their next turn.
Yes.
Yeah, it was pretty close.
Which is a good sign of a game that's well balanced. I really love that the dice here are smaller if doing that action makes you more vulnerable.
Right.
So when you're running at first, you've got all the energy, it's hard to hit you. But when you're tired out, your defense is 2. You're much easier to hit. When you're trying to pick up an object, you're kind of out in the open.
You're exposed,
You just snap
right.
up. Yeah. So I really love that mechanic. There's just so much in this that this dice system explains elegantly. Yeah, like I said, the theme is super strong. My biggest gripe about this, however, is the rulebook.
Square.
I guess that was kind of
Square.
a component, but
I didn't read it, but in my experience, Kolossal Games have terrible rulebooks.
Spencer and I just ran into a problem where we found at least 3 grammatical errors,
sure.
and it's just that it's clearly a translated rule book. It's not like there are misspellings everywhere and the person typing was unprofessional or something. It's more of whoever translated this did not fully understand how article adjectives and stuff translate from one language to another, and there's just a lot of times where you read a sentence and you understand what it means, but weird wording. And to me, it was like, it's like if you try to Google translate something and it translates it, but like, does it translate it grammatically correct in the other language? No, right? Like,
Right.
so
You get your
where we
point
say,
across.
where we say red car, French would say car red.
Right.
And that kind of stuff doesn't always make it across language boundaries.
The player rates seem nice though, right?
The
They got
player rates.
icon breakdown and
They
breakdown of the event cards.
There was also one typo on those as well.
Yep.
I think it's mountains, to where it says everyone in a non-mountain space roll your top die, and then the second thing it says is everyone in a non-mountain space roll the top 2 die. It's supposed to be mountain roll 2, non-mountain roll 1, right? And they accidentally said non-mountain twice. Again, though, it's very obvious what they mean, not only just thematically, but also then right under that is earthquake, and that one words it correctly. So
And thankfully, the icon on the card that comes up has it correctly.
yes, and that's another thing I'll give the game is once you actually understand what they all mean, right? Just spend like 5 minutes. The icons are great. They help a lot. Everything
the
makes
icons
sense.
are really good. They're
Like
really
the only
solid.
one that took us a while isn't even on the board right now, and it's like a picture of the 4 stars and the 2 stars thing, and it makes total sense once you actually get it.
Yeah.
So Spencer, back to your thoughts.
So back to my thoughts. One of the biggest things I have against the game, the manual, is we kept running into little situations where we need to look it up, and we're like, it's kind of ambiguous, and I'm not certain it's entirely a translation problem. We were able to figure it out, especially since we're experienced gamers. We know what it should do, or at least what makes sense for us. So I am going to go ahead and give this a rating. I am going to knock off some of this for the book, pretty much the book. I'm going to give this a 7.5. I would have given this an 8.5. That book really bugs me.
Yeah, it's very noticeable how much it bugs him because, like I said, Spencer has now played this game quite a few times, and I mean, like, I'm not kidding. The first time we played this game, like Spencer and I and 2 other people, he was like giddy. I don't know why. He was loving it. He was like, oh, fascinating. I love this. Like, it was like really funny to see him like a game so much.
So I was the girl who becomes invisible, and I had hid myself in a corner. I put a trap on me, so anyone who comes near me will have to hit the trap. You can only hit me if you come near me, and I had a sniper rifle, so I'm just picking people off, one-shotting people, and it was fantastic. All of the characters, their abilities do a really good job of encapsulating what they are. And I appreciate that. That's why I would give this one an 8.5. But that book.
Sure. All right, Bobby, where you at?
I enjoyed it. I had fun. I was the drone person, so I had to pick up a bunch of extra items.
They
and
might be,
whatnot.
in my opinion, the strongest one of the game. They're very strong.
Like Spencer said, it was super close. Had he not won, I could have moved up, dropped my thing off, shot him, and won.
Yeah.
And that I like winning. But no, I think Spencer's right. I think it's a 7.5. I enjoyed it. I kind of wish we would have played 2v2 because there is some options.
yeah.
I believe you said that there's different modes to play.
Yeah. I wanted base game first, but we definitely need that
Sure.
and capture the flag.
Oh yeah, capture the flag. That would be fun too.
Yeah, capture the flag might be fun.
But yeah, I give it a 7.5. I definitely want to play it some more. And yeah, I like how it works. I like the whole Fortnite feel of it. I don't play a lot of Fortnite.
Sure.
But the whole just the dropping in, the picking up all the guns and shooting everybody. I like skirmish types of games.
I
Right.
love skirmish games.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you. Dan?
Me. No, yeah, I agree with almost everything that's been said. Because I tend to not like skirmish games because I find them a bit mean and a bit like claustrophobic with what you do on your turn and stuff like that. And I just don't feel it in this game. It's so just dumb.
Yeah.
You know, you're just running around having fun.
Die, respawn. No
Yeah,
big deal.
exactly.
I blast you in the face. You blast me in the face.
Yeah.
We're
As a
even.
matter of fact, your first death, depending on how early it is, you usually come back stronger because you start the game with level 1 gear, and then when you die, you come back with level 2 gear. So
Yeah.
you might as well, when you spawn in, just
Run at somebody.
just to try to kill someone because you're like, oh, you killed me. I guess I'll come back stronger now.
Yeah.
Right?
It's not even my final form.
Perfect, Dan. But yeah, so I really like the fast-paced, just fun action. And again, I've mentioned it a million times. I wish I could go really in depth on it right now. This dice system is fantastic. Just choosing what you want and then becoming a defense line, and then choosing because then you think about like, okay, well, like Tim sometimes was moving twice just because his character set 2 4s up here.
Yeah,
So he was
yeah.
just moving
I
twice.
really like that, yeah.
Just so that
Great
he was
defense.
building up a strong defense. Okay, my top 2 are great. Now I can do whatever I want. And then he could even do something like, oh, I'll put the 3 here. I won't. You know what? I'll end my turn early. These 2 go down here to your defense pool, and that means you only got 3 axes this turn. But if someone attacks me, I roll these and set them where they would go. So the person coming to attack me doesn't know what my defense is because I almost thematically.
prepared.
That's weird. That person only did 3 actions. I didn't see what else they did. What else were they doing? Were they preparing? You know, like, and like, so thematically, you don't know what they were doing with the rest of their time. And so look at that, 3 4s, like that is
stout defense.
really solid defense, you know, walking into that. And I love that system. And then the difference between the skull. Oh, also we didn't say these 2 spots are black. That's because you can't do them if there's an enemy on the same space as
Yeah, that
you.
makes
Obviously,
sense. Yeah.
you cannot heal and you cannot take the time to build structures if the enemy is standing next to me with a gun like, excuse me, how rude.
I'll be done in a minute.
Yeah. But again, I think you guys are going to have a great time discovering what I think the depth of this dice system is and how thematic and everything this all works. I really want to give this game an 8. I have a great time with this game. Dumb, fun skirmish game, shooty, right? There's been a couple games like that I haven't been able to play. Adrenaline is one that's like a shooty, right? And isn't like a Arcadia Quest, kind of like a shooty.
Yeah,
But,
Arcadia Quest is definitely almost Gauntlet style, right?
Sure.
Like,
And people talk
just
about those a
like through.
lot,
Yeah.
and I haven't been able to play them. And now this is my first like dumb shooty skirmish game, and I enjoyed it thoroughly. I want to give it an 8. I'm gonna give it an 8.
There you go.
I just, the fun factor here outweighs the few faults I have with the game. Again, the rulebook kind of sucks, but also it's so easy to figure out. Every time I've had a conversation discussing the rules in this game, even if we're unsure about the rule and we look it up in the rulebook, or we look it up online, the conversation always ends with, okay, it works how you think it should. You know, like it just all comes together in a fun package. And again, that's what you're going to get out of this game. If you're looking for a deep skirmish game, it's not this. You probably know that by looking at the art style and everything, right? But if you want fun, I think that's what the game offers is, okay, let's have dumb fun for an hour, you know, and I need some of those in my collection.
I'm going to be the wet blanket.
Yep.
Let me see this thing.
We know. You also lost.
Let me see this thing. No, so this game is fiddly as all
is.
get out.
Yeah,
It
they're a
is
little bit,
so
yeah.
fiddly, and that's fine most of the time because I love all kinds of games. There's room for fiddly games in my life. What is the point of this and this?
I knew you were going to say that. It's just
Why-
because... So the bars, the way I say it, again, I'm semi making this up and semi, again, just going off of conclusions from the rulebook. The game is designed to have a 2v2 mode where these are combined.
Okay.
So for balance reasons, when it's just this length, you start out with this much to make it the correct length for game time. That's my argument for that.
So when you play 2v2, you don't have both blue pieces and both player pieces?
I haven't played it yet.
Okay.
I don't know. I just assume it has something to do with the bounce there. But no, I totally understand. I just
Because I saw that and I was like, well, that's dumb.
Sure.
Like, I'm not going to say it while
Like,
we're
I
playing
can see
because
having like maybe your character
I
one.
agree that this is very strange.
Because this is already that color.
this marks your character.
That makes
I
perfect
guess.
sense to
But
me.
this was stupid.
Space.
I
It was
agree.
stupid to me. Now I'm not complaining because it ends the game faster. I love skirmish games. I enjoy skirmish games. I think part of my problem is that it was like fast turn, fast turn, fast turn. Turns hit. Sorry to do this to you, Bobby. Turns hit a dead stop every time they came to you. Like it was like Spenser took a fast turn, Dan took a fast turn, I take a turn, and then you're doing a stuff, and I could like check my phone.
You're doing a stuff.
Somebody comes in and talks, and
Yeah.
you're still figuring out like your third action, and I'm like, oh my god.
I had a lot to do.
No, I mean that's fine.
Approximately 5 things.
But I just like, it's not just you, right? But that could happen to anybody. And
Sure.
if you've got a game full of that, like if I had hair, I would be pulling it out, like because I was not having enough fun to justify any of that. I felt like I played fine. I don't think I was doing anything wrong. I did terribly, but it was fine. I mean, I was doing things, but it's like, oh, I do all this stuff, and then like Spencer, we're talking about earlier, and you talked about it as a positive, is it's like, okay, I did some things, I got some stuff. Oh, hey Tim, you got shot, and now you're dead. Cool. Okay, bye. Got some stuff back. I actually got better gear. Was able to do something, which was cool, and then the game was over. So for me, I just didn't have a lot of fun. This isn't like Champions of Midgard where it's like, please don't make me play this again. I definitely want to play this again because I want to see the other modes. I legit want to see Capture the Flag. I really do want to see the team mode. I would even play the 4-on-4 skirmish, but I think for me, it's like, I felt like watching as long as it took to set up and then tear down for the game that you're playing. Like it felt like there's a lot of time invested in even just getting things set up. I agree with you. Like it's fiddly as all get out, but they do a really good job because everything makes sense. Everything, like Dan says, I mean, we're seeing the same game. We just are having different experiences. The iconography is great, absolutely great. This stuff makes sense. It's just fiddly. It's just fiddly. I love the idea of the drift.
Right.
Oh, sure. The wind.
Dan is 100% correct. This dice system is super cool, and I was enjoying manipulating it. You know what I mean? Like the best way that I could. Because it was so much fun when people went to shoot me because I was the guy building up with the extra
Yeah,
defense. And it's like, wait, what?
I
And it's
killed
like,
you
well,
that one time, but I shot him so many times I couldn't do anything.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's not like really my complaint is, oh, I just got killed and then I couldn't do anything. Because that was not the issue. I got
Can we
killed.
soundbite that?
I got killed and actually was then able to kind of do something.
Sure.
I think this game will benefit from multiple plays, right? Obviously, thankfully, Dan took the time to like organize his stuff. So setup wasn't as long as it could be because I have friends and know people that would have just dumped whatever in the box.
Sure, it was also what I hate, which is one person setting up the whole game. If
Yeah.
all 4 of us had been participating, the game would set up in 5 minutes.
It really would.
If we knew what we were doing.
Right. I'm
really
just saying
would.
that it was kind of like I was doing something else, and I was like, Spencer, set that up for me, please, and we're going to do this. And he was like setting up alone, and I had to do the same thing when we played at our friend's house the other night. I had to set it up alone while the other 3 were talking because I was the only one that knew the game, and it took me forever. I mean, that was also my first time setting it up.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, honestly, I agree. Fiddly as all get out. That just usually doesn't get to me. I mean, I love Sentinels in the Multiverse, and that game is like, hey, would you like fiddly in a bag?
So I'm fine being a hypocrite because yes, you are correct.
I thought
That
you
is-
called this fiddly. Like, we've played Sentinels and multiplayer.
Yeah. I guess I had more fun playing Sentinels or
Sure.
Marvel Champions or something like that than I did having played this. Again, though, this is a game, right? We come back in a year and it's like, oh, we played this 10 more times.
Hey, the whole reason of us
And
giving
it-
our 4 opinions
and
is so
it's-
that we don't all agree.
And it's like, you know what? It goes up a whole point or a whole 2 points, right? Like, because listen, I love GKR. Also kind of fiddly, totally skirmish, can be mean. Stuff's getting blown up. It's more complex, and setup takes probably just as long. But I just didn't have as much fun playing this. I think some of it was the potential, like just hitting a total dead stop when it comes to somebody's turn. And it wasn't even just you specifically, Bob, but Like I'm just
Well,
doing
they
it.
had played before, so I was still trying to figure it
Yeah,
out.
but my turns took 0 time.
Yeah, but your guy just moved around a lot.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not trying to downplay you or anything, but you also openly admit when you play games, you just take actions and see what
I want
happens.
to see what happens. Right.
I just-
Bob doesn't play to learn.
I'm like, how does this work? Okay. Oh, if I attack him, how does the melee work? I like ask questions.
well, yeah, I asked about how the melee worked and
Yeah.
then decided against it.
Yeah.
Because
Which
it seemed
sucks
like a
because you only had melee weapons.
right. 'Cause I was like, oh, this melee weapon looks really cool. Then found out melee sucks.
It doesn't suck. It's risky.
risky.
It's
But-
risky.
yeah,
Yeah.
It was at the time a
Sure.
risk that I was too chicken to make.
Sure, I would have pounded his head in.
That's what I did,
would've
and I
done
almost
it
won.
But so I mean, again,
Sure.
different game. I liked the character. I liked the art design. I like a lot of that stuff. All that. Long story short, too late. 6.5 for me.
I think that's fine.
It could go up, but I wanted to have the experience you guys were having, but was not.
Sure.
But yeah, I mean, and again, this and Kolossal, please come on, you guys got to get it together with the rule books.
Hire
Player
me.
Aid,
I'll
Player
do
Aid's
it.
really good, but the rule books. I mean, there's other Kolossal games that I've had problems with the rule books.
Right.
So
It's not a.
I don't feel like,
one-off.
oh man, this was a misstep. It's like, no. This is now becoming like this
Right.
is like a regular thing. If you were like, oh,
Yeah.
Kolossal has bad rule books. Yep.
Right, but keep the squares though.
Keep the,
No.
keep the player aids.
So if you take all of our scores and you average them together, 7.4.
7.4.
All
right.
Yeah,
not
my
bad.
wet blanket was not enough to do much to
No.
your.
Yeah.
To your
count
7
Our
and
powers
8.
combined.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
all right. That's all right. Okay, guys. So this is Reload, Fight for Fame. Let us know what you think. If you've got any questions or you want to, Dan and Spenser both understand the game really well. So you can get on Discord or the Facebook group. Hit them up if you're trying to play and you're working through the rule book. At us, we will happily. We all teach games all the time.
All the time.
And we are so happy to help. So
I'm waiting for comments. I want every comment in the comment section to be, but what does the green dye do?
energy drink,
Don't tell
baby.
him. Don't
'Cause
tell
I
him.
haven't
Oh, wait.
explained it.
Yeah, don't listen to Tim.
It's cool. I use that one.
Yeah, you
It
just
was a
did.
mechanic I used. So anyways, for the board game rundown, I've been Tim.
I was Bob.
I'm Spencer.
Dan.
This was Reload, Fight for Fame. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for checking out the Board Game Rundown. If you like what you saw, like, comment, and subscribe to our channel. Share our videos on social media and spread the word. We publish new content weekly, including reviews, unboxing, and Let's Plays. And as always, thanks for watching.